My dear brother, my dear sister, listen to me very carefully. God is not a God of confusion. He is not a God of delay. He is not a God of shortage. He is a God of appointed seasons. And I hear in my spirit, 2026 is not an ordinary year for you. It is a divinely scheduled year of overflow. You have cried in secret. You have trusted God when nobody applauded you. You have obeyed when it made no logical sense. And now the Lord says, I am about to change your financial story. Suddenly, this wealth is not for pride. It is not for noise. It is not for comparison. It is for kingdom purpose. In the Bible, God never made a person rich accidentally. He always made them rich intentionally. Abraham became rich because he believed. Isaac became wealthy in famine because he obeyed. Joseph became prosperous because he remained faithful in suffering. And you are next in line. You may not see it yet, but heaven has already approved it. God says, before the year ends, I will position you. In 2026, I will prosper you. Your job may not explain it. Your background may not qualify you. Your past may not support it. But God does not consult your past to bless your future. God blesses faith, not desperation. And this truth must sink deep into your spirit, because many people pray loudly but believe quietly. Many cry before God but doubt Him in their hearts. Desperation says, God, if you don't do this now, I am finished. Faith says, God, even if I don't see it now, I know you are working. Heaven does not respond to panic. Heaven responds to confidence. When a child confidently stretches out their hand to a loving father, they don't scream in fear, they trust. In the same way, God is not moved by tears alone. He is moved by trust that refuses to collapse under pressure. Look at daily life. When you go to a bank for a loan, the banker does not give money to the person who is shaking, sweating, and begging. The banker looks for stability, assurance, and credibility. Faith is spiritual credibility. Desperation is spiritual instability. God is a father, but He is also a king. And kings respond to faith-filled language, not fearful language. When you pray from desperation, your words are full of fear. When you pray from faith, your words are full of expectation. A student who studies calmly and consistently walks into the exam hall differently than a student who ignored preparation and now panics the night before. Both may pray, but only one has peace. Faith always carries peace. Desperation always carries anxiety. God's blessings flow most freely into peaceful hearts, because peace is proof that you trust Him. The Bible says God gives wisdom generously, not reluctantly, but wisdom flows into those who believe, not those who doubt. Desperation is a form of doubt disguised as urgency. Think about a farmer. He does not dig up the seed every morning to check if it is growing. If he did, the seed would die. That farmer trusts the process. Faith plants and waits. Desperation plants and panics. Many people sabotage their own miracle because they keep digging up what they prayed for. They prayed for a job, then panicked when the interview was delayed. They prayed for breakthrough, then complained when the door didn't open immediately. Faith understands timing. Desperation demands speed. In everyday relationships, people are naturally drawn to those who are calm under pressure. When someone is desperate for attention, approval, or validation, others pull away. But when someone is confident and secure, people are drawn closer. God is no different. Faith attracts God's presence. Desperation repels clarity. Faith says, I trust your character. Desperation says, I doubt your timing. And timing is one of God's greatest tools. When Jesus walked the earth, desperate crowds followed Him. But miracles happened where faith was present. Many touched Him, but only one woman touched Him with faith, and power flowed. Desperation touched His clothes. Faith touched His heart. That woman did not shout. She did not beg. She said within herself, if I touch Him, I shall be healed. Heaven listens closely to what you say within yourself. Inner dialogue matters more than outer noise. In daily work life, An employee who constantly fears being fired works differently from one who trusts their skills. Fear-driven work produces exhaustion. Faith-driven work produces excellence. God promotes excellence, not anxiety. When you approach life believing that God is your source, not your salary, you work with peace. Desperation makes money your God. Faith makes God your source, and whatever you treat as your source will control your emotions. Parents understand this deeply. When a child trusts their parent, they ask boldly but peacefully. When a child is insecure, they cry uncontrollably. God wants mature sons and daughters, not spiritual orphans. Faith is spiritual maturity. Desperation is spiritual immaturity. That is why God sometimes delays answers, not to punish you, but to grow your faith muscles so you can carry what is coming without breaking. Faith does not deny problems, it denies their authority. Desperation magnifies problems until God looks small. Faith magnifies God until problems look manageable. In everyday bills, unpaid debts, closed doors, and unanswered emails, faith speaks differently. Faith says, I don't see how, but I know who. Desperation says, I don't know how, and I don't know when. God blesses those who trust His when, even when they don't understand His how. People who succeed in life often say the same thing. The moment they stopped panicking and started believing, clarity came. That is not coincidence, that is principle. Faith aligns your mind with heaven's order. Desperation clouds judgment. God will not pour abundance into a fearful mind because fear leaks blessings. Faith preserves them. When you wake up every morning checking your phone in fear, checking your bank account in panic, checking people's opinions for validation, you are operating from desperation. But when you wake up declaring, God is my provider, today will unfold according to His plan, you are operating from faith. One posture invites stress, the other invites solutions. God blesses faith because faith honors Him. Desperation unknowingly accuses Him. Faith says God is trustworthy. Desperation says God might fail. Heaven cannot partner with that mindset. Faith steadies your heart so that when the blessing comes, you won't worship the blessing instead of the blesser. Faith prepares you to receive quietly, wisely, and gratefully, while desperation would have destroyed what God was trying to give you. Prosperity begins in the spirit realm long before it ever shows up in your bank account. And if people truly understood this, they would stop fighting life with their hands and start winning it with their mindset and faith. What you hold inside you always decides what you will eventually hold around you. Money, opportunities, favor, and growth are not first physical things, they are spiritual permissions. Before wealth becomes visible, it becomes believable. Before doors open outside, alignment happens inside. Look at daily life. Two people can work at the same job, earn the same salary, and live in the same city, yet one keeps rising while the other stays stuck. The difference is not effort alone, it is inner posture. One thinks in limitation, the other thinks in possibility. One says, this is all life has for me. The other says, this is just a phase. Prosperity responds to expectation. What you expect internally shapes what you experience externally. A person who constantly speaks lack may suddenly receive money, but it disappears quickly. Another person who thinks abundance may start with nothing, yet somehow always finds help, ideas, and timing. That is not luck, that is alignment. When your spirit agrees with growth, your decisions follow growth. You stop wasting time. You stop sabotaging relationships. You stop settling for less. Prosperity does not fall on random people. It follows prepared minds. Think about athletes. Long before they win medals, they see themselves winning. They train their mind before their muscles. If an athlete trains the body but believes they will lose, the body eventually obeys the mind. In the same way, if someone works hard but secretly believes they will always struggle, struggle becomes familiar territory. The spirit sets the ceiling for the body. You cannot consistently rise above what you believe you deserve. In everyday family life, you can see this clearly. Some people grow up in poor environments yet dream differently. Others grow up with resources but think small. One uses challenges as motivation. The other uses comfort as an excuse. Prosperity starts where responsibility meets belief. When your spirit believes you are capable, you begin to act capable. When your spirit believes you are limited, you unconsciously create limits. Even fear is a spiritual signal. Fear is not just emotion, it is information about where your trust is placed. When fear dominates, your spirit is agreeing with uncertainty. When faith dominates, your spirit is agreeing with possibility. Two people may face the same bill, the same delay, the same rejection. One panics, the other plans. E complains, the other prepares. The difference is not money, the difference is mindset. Look at how people approach opportunities. Some walk into rooms already defeated, assuming rejection. Others walk in expecting connection. That expectation changes posture, tone, confidence, and decisions. People respond to inner authority before outer success. Employers, partners, and even strangers can sense when someone carries inner alignment. Prosperity recognizes its own language. Think about daily habits. A person with a poor spirit overspends to feel important. A person with a prosperous spirit invests to grow. One chases appearance, the other builds foundation. That is why sudden wealth destroys some people and multiplies others. The money did not change them. It revealed what was already inside. Prosperity did not begin with the money. It began with the mindset that knew how to handle it. Children show this truth early. A child who believes they can learn tries again after failing. A child who believes they are not good gives up quickly. Life rewards persistence rooted in belief. When your spirit accepts growth as normal, you try longer, learn faster, and recover quicker. Prosperity favors resilience, and resilience is born in the spirit, not the wallet. Even health reflects this principle. People who believe they will recover often heal faster. People who believe they are fragile live fragile. The body listens to the inner voice constantly. If your inner voice speaks defeat, your life echoes defeat. If your inner voice speaks hope, your life gradually aligns with hope. Prosperity listens closely to what you say to yourself when no one else is around. In business, the most successful people often say they failed many times before winning. What kept them moving was not money, but belief. They believed failure was feedback, not final. That belief protected their SPI from collapse. When the spirit remains intact, progress continues. When the spirit breaks, even small problems feel heavy. Prosperity begins when you stop seeing money as the goal and start seeing growth as the goal. Money follows value. Value follows skill. Skill follows learning. Learning follows humility. Humility follows awareness. Awareness lives in the spirit. When your spirit is teachable, your future is expandable. When your spirit is rigid, your future is restricted. Daily decisions reveal spiritual condition. Do you react or respond? Do you blame or learn? Do you quit or adapt? Each choice strengthens either scarcity or abundance inside you. Prosperity grows quietly, starting with thoughts, then habits, then actions, then results. Long before people say you are successful, your spirit already knew it was possible. Vision precedes provision, and this is one of the most misunderstood truths of life, because many people are asking for resources while refusing to define direction. God does not fund confusion. Provision follows clarity. Before anything is supplied, something must be seen. What you cannot see clearly, you cannot steward responsibly. Vision is not imagination. Vision is agreement with possibility before evidence appears. In daily life, think about a person building a house. No bricks are ordered until a blueprint exists. Cement, steel, and labor all wait for design. If the builder says, "Bring me materials, I'll decide later," chaos follows. Life works the same way. Many people pray, "God bless me," but cannot answer the question, for what? Vision gives purpose to blessing. Without vision, resources become waste. Look at students. A student who has no vision studies randomly, cramming without direction. Another student knows exactly what they are preparing for and studies with intention. Both may put in hours, but one multiplies results. Vision focuses energy. Provision flows toward focus. When you know where you're going, even small help becomes powerful. When you don't, even large help becomes insufficient. In everyday work life, some people complain about low income while having no vision beyond survival. Others earn the same salary but use it differently because they see a future they are building. One spends to escape the present. The other invests to shape tomorrow. Vision changes how you treat what you have. God increases people who maximize, not those who misuse. Even relationships reveal this principle. People with no vision attract confusion. People with vision attract alignment. When you know what kind of life you want to build, you stop entertaining distractions that drain you. Vision acts like a filter. It removes unnecessary stress, unnecessary spending, unnecessary relationships. Provision follows discipline, and discipline flows from vision. Parents understand this instinctively. Before a child is born, preparation begins. Clothes are bought, space is created, plans are made. Provision starts because vision exists. No one prepares for what they do not expect. If someone says they believe in a future but prepares nothing, their belief is incomplete. Vision always demands preparation, and preparation invites provision. Look at athletes again. Long before sponsorships arrive, they see themselves competing at a higher level. They train for stages they have not yet stepped onto. Sponsors do not invest in potential without direction. They invest in clear trajectories. God invests the same way. He releases provision where He sees vision that will not collapse under pressure. Vision also protects you during delays. When resources are slow, vision keeps you moving. When people quit, it is often not because they lack provision, but because they lack vision. A person with vision can survive tight seasons because they know what the season is producing. A person without vision interprets delay as denial and gives up too soon. In business, many ideas fail not because they are bad, but because they are vague. The clearer the vision, the easier it is to attract partners, investors, and customers. Clarity is magnetic. Confusion repels support. When you can articulate where you are going, people feel safe helping you. Even heaven responds to clear requests. Faith is specific. Daily habits are shaped by vision more than motivation. Motivation is emotional and temporary. Vision is directional and steady. When you wake up knowing why you are doing what you are doing, discipline becomes easier. You say no to short-term pleasure because you see long-term reward. Vision trains the mind to delay gratification, and delayed gratification attracts lasting provision. Children reveal this truth early. A child with a dream practices longer. A child with no dream quits quickly. The difference is not talent, it is vision. Vision creates patience. Provision often comes slowly because it is testing whether the vision will survive without applause. God watches what you do when progress is quiet. Vision does not mean knowing every detail. It means knowing enough to take the next step. When Abraham moved, he did not know the destination, but he knew the direction. Provision appeared along the journey, not before it. Steps of faith activate supply. Standing still, demanding certainty produces stagnation. Many people want miracles, but miracles often arrive disguised as instructions. Build this, learn that, leave here, start small. Vision hears instruction clearly. Without vision, instruction feels like inconvenience. With vision, instruction feels like guidance. Provision flows most freely to those who move in obedience, not comfort. Vision also determines scale. If your visio N is small, provision will match it. If your vision grows, provision stretches to meet it. God is not limited by resources, He is limited by what you can see responsibly. He will not give you more than your vision can manage. When vision expands, capacity expands. People often say they are waiting for provision to start, but life rewards those who start with vision and let provision catch up. Every meaningful journey begins with seeing before having, believing before receiving, moving before feeling ready. Vision lights the path so provision knows where to go. Obedience unlocks financial miracles, and this truth confronts the human desire to control outcomes while avoiding instruction. Many people want results without responsibility, harvest without planting, increase without alignment. But in life, the greatest breakthroughs often come not from effort alone, but from listening and acting even when it feels uncomfortable. Obedience is not weakness, it is trust in motion. In daily life, consider traffic signals. A green light does not make sense if the intersection looks empty, yet obedience to that signal prevents accidents you cannot see. Ignoring it because the road looks clear can cost you everything. In the same way, divine instruction often protects you from losses you never realize you avoided. Financial miracles are not always about sudden gain. Sometimes they are about supernatural preservation. Think about employees who follow systems versus those who try shortcuts. One carefully follows policy, builds credibility, and gains trust. Another cuts corners, hoping for faster success. Over time, promotions follow obedience, not rebellion. Systems reward alignment. Life works on principles, and principles reward those who cooperate with them. Obedience positions you where opportunity naturally flows. Look at everyday spending habits. A person feels prompted to save instead of spend, but desire argues back. Obedience whispers, wait. Disobedience shouts, you deserve it. Months later, an emergency comes. One person is covered, the other panics. The miracle was not the money, the miracle was the instruction obeyed earlier. Obedience often looks boring before it looks brilliant. Parents see this pattern constantly. A child who listens avoids pain. A child who ignores instruction learns through consequence. Life does not punish, it instructs. Obedience accelerates learning without trauma. When you obey wisdom early, you skip costly lessons. Financial miracles often come disguised as avoided mistakes rather than sudden windfalls. In business, many people fail not because they lack ideas, but because they refuse counsel. A mentor advises patience, but ego demands speed. A voice says, fix this foundation, but pride says, I'll manage later. Obedience builds stability. Stability attracts growth. Growth invites increase. Disobedience builds fast, but collapses under pressure. Even in daily routines, obedience shapes outcomes. A doctor gives clear instructions, but a patient ignores them, hoping for healing without discipline. Another patient follows the plan faithfully and recovers faster. Healing follows alignment. Prosperity follows alignment. Obedience aligns you with systems designed to support you, not restrict you. Think about timing. Sometimes obedience means moving when logic says stay, or staying when logic says move. People who obey timing often miss disasters and encounter unexpected opportunities. They don't always understand why, but later clarity arrives. Financial miracles are often delayed revelations of obedience that didn't make sense at the time. In relationships, obedience to values protects resources. A person ignores boundaries and pays emotionally and financially later. Another honors principles and avoids unnecessary loss. Obedience is a shield. It keeps wealth from leaking through poor decisions. Money does not disappear magically. It exits through disobedience to wisdom. Children learn this early with chores and allowances. The child who completes tasks consistently earns trust and reward. The one who resists obedience struggles for favor. Life mirrors this structure. Responsibility attracts resources. When you show you can be trusted with little, more naturally follows. Obedience also trains humility, and humility attracts learning. When you listen, you grow. When you grow, your value increases. When your value increases, income eventually follows. Financial miracles are not random gifts. They are the fruit of invisible disciplines practiced daily. Many people pray for open doors, but ignore instructions for preparation. Obedience prepares you for the door before it opens. Why? Without preparation, opportunity becomes pressure. Obedience stretches capacity quietly so that when increase arrives, you don't panic or waste it. In everyday life, alarms go off in the morning. One person obeys and prepares their day. Another hits snooze repeatedly and rushes later. The miracle is not waking up early. The miracle is arriving prepared. Obedience creates margin. Margin creates peace. Peace creates clarity. Clarity creates better decisions. When people say obedience is hard, what they often mean is obedience requires surrender. Surrender feels risky, but control is an illusion. Those who insist on control often block help. Those who obey instruction open themselves to guidance beyond their understanding. Financial miracles often arrive through doors you did not know to knock on. Obedience also reveals trust. Trust says, I don't need to understand everything to move forward. That posture attracts favor. Favor opens access. Access creates opportunity. Opportunity multiplies resources. The chain always begins with obedience. Many people want God to explain before they obey, but life often works in reverse. Obedience comes first, explanation later. When you move with integrity, discipline, and alignment, unseen systems begin working in your favor. People help you without knowing why. Opportunities appear without advertising. Doors open without force. Obedience does not mean perfection, it means responsiveness. When correction comes, you adjust. When instruction comes, you act. That responsiveness keeps you in flow. Flow attracts provision. Resistance blocks it. Financial miracles are often less about luck and more about listening well and moving promptly. God prospers people with kingdom purpose because heaven does not release resources without responsibility. Prosperity in God's economy is never random. It is intentional, directional, and deeply connected to impact. When wealth has no purpose, it becomes a burden. When it has purpose, it becomes a tool. God looks for people who see money not as a trophy, but as a testimony. In daily life, think about how organizations fund projects. Investors do not give large amounts of money to ideas that only benefit one person's ego. They invest in visions that solve problems, create value, and help people. The same principle operates in the kingdom. God increases people who will use resources to heal, build, uplift, and restore. Purpose attracts provision, because provision follows impact. Look at people who live only for themselves. Even when they earn more, peace often decreases. Anxiety grows because money without meaning creates pressure. But people who attach their work to service experience a different kind of fulfillment. They wake up motivated, not just driven. God prospers those whose hearts are aligned with something bigger than personal comfort. In everyday workplaces, employees who think beyond their paycheck stand out. One worker only asks, "What do I get?" Another asks, "How can I add value?" Promotions follow value creators, not entitlement thinkers. Kingdom purpose works the same way. When you focus on contribution, increase follows naturally. God promotes servants because servants multiply outcomes. Parents see this principle clearly. When a child shows responsibility toward others, parents trust them with more. A child who shares is trusted. A child who hoards is limited. God is a father. He watches how we treat people, opportunities, and small blessings. When he sees generosity of spirit, he releases more resources. In business, companies with strong mission statements often outlast those chasing profit alone. Why? Because purpose sustains perseverance. Profit motivates temporarily, purpose motivates consistently. God prospers people whose motivation survives hardship. When your reason for success is rooted in service, you endure storms that break others. Daily choices reveal purpose. Do you help when no one is watching? Do you give time when there is no applause? Do you serve when it costs you comfort? These moments train your heart. Prosperity trusts trained hearts. God does not pour abundance into hands that close quickly. He pours into hands that stay open. Think about talents. People who use their gifts only for themselves plateau. People who use their gifts to help others grow expand rapidly. Teaching, mentoring, encouraging, building. These acts attract influence. Influence attracts opportunity. Opportunity attracts resources. God prospers people who turn their blessings into bridges for others. In communities, leaders who serve earn loyalty. Leaders who exploit lose trust. Trust is currency. God prospers trustworthy people because trust multiplies reach. When people trust you, doors open. When doors open, impact increases. When impact increases, provision follows. Even in small daily habits, purpose shows up. Do you treat money as a seed or as a shield? Seeds are meant to be planted. Shields are meant to be held tightly. God prospers sowers because sowing creates cycles. Hoarding creates stagnation. Movement creates multiplication. Think about the difference between a river and a swamp. A river flows and stays fresh. A swamp collects and becomes stagnant. God blesses flow, not storage. When resources flow through you to bless others, freshness remains. When resources stop with you, decay begins. Children understand this when sharing toys. The child who shares often receives more from others. The child who refuses loses connection. Life rewards openness. Kingdom purpose keeps the heart open. An open heart invites increase because it knows how to circulate blessing. Many people pray for wealth but have no plan to bless anyone with it. Heaven listens differently to those prayers. God prospers people who already bless with what they have. If you are generous with little, you are trusted with much. Purpose is proven before provision increases. Purpose also guards prosperity. Money given without purpose can destroy character. Money given to purpose strengthens it. God protects His children by not giving them what would harm them. When purpose is clear, wealth becomes safe. Safety invites increase. In everyday life, people are drawn to those who live for more than themselves. They want to support, collaborate, and invest. Purpose is magnetic. When your life carries meaning, help comes from unexpected places. God uses people as channels to supply those aligned with His heart. Kingdom purpose does not mean perfection, it means direction. It means choosing impact over image, service over status, people over pride. When God sees that your success will lift others, He accelerates it. When He sees your gain will build His work, He multiplies it. Prosperity in the kingdom is not about luxury, it is about legacy. God prospers people who think generationally, who ask not only, what will this do for me, but who will this help after me? Purpose stretches vision beyond the present moment. When your work, time, and resources align with kingdom values, heaven partners with your efforts. That partnership creates favor that cannot be explained by logic alone. Doors open, timing aligns, help arrives, resistance lessens. Purpose clears the path for provision, because heaven always funds what reflects its heart. Silence protects the blessing because not everything God gives you is meant to be announced, explained, or defended. Some blessings are fragile in their early stages, like seeds beneath the soil, and exposure too soon can destroy what is still forming. Wisdom knows when to speak, but maturity knows when to stay quiet. Many people lose momentum not because God stopped working, but because they started talking too early. In daily life, consider a pregnancy. In the earliest months, it is often kept private, not because of shame, but because of care. The body is still adjusting, the life is still forming. Too much movement, stress, or interference can cause harm. In the same way, when God conceives something new in your life, it needs protection, not publicity. Silence becomes spiritual insulation. Look at people starting new businesses. Those who announce every plan often face unsolicited opinions, doubt, and jealousy. One negative voice can plant fear. Another person quietly builds, studies, saves, and prepares. When the business launches, it stands firm. Silence protected the process. Noise would have weakened it. Even in relationships, people who broadcast every detail invite interference. Advice comes from people who don't understand the foundation. Criticism comes from people who don't share the vision. Silence preserves clarity. When something is precious, you guard it carefully. Blessings grow best away from unnecessary commentary. Think about learning a new skill. The person who talks about what they will become often practices less. The person who practices quietly becomes skilled without announcement. Silence focuses energy inward. Talking disperses energy outward. Growth requires concentration, not conversation. Daily life shows this in goals. When someone announces weight loss plans, gym routines, or new habits prematurely, accountability often turns into pressure. Quiet consistency builds real change. Silence allows discipline to form without distraction. Blessings built quietly last longer. In financial matters, people who reveal income, plans, or breakthroughs too soon often attract comparison and competition. Comparison creates stress. Stress clouds judgment. Silence preserves peace. Peace preserves wisdom. Wisdom preserves wealth. Parents understand this instinctively. They don't tell every plan for their child's future to everyone. They protect it. They guide quietly. They correct privately. God parents his children the same way. He often works in hidden seasons because hidden seasons produce strong foundations. Think about seeds again. A seed planted underground looks lifeless before growth appears. If you keep digging it up to show people, it will never sprout. Silence is like soil. It hides the seed while nourishing it. Words can be like tools that dig too deep too soon. In workplaces, people who talk about promotion before it happens often create resistance. Others feel threatened. Managers become cautious. The person who works quietly, delivers consistently, and lets results speak often advances smoothly. Silence builds credibility. Silence also protects you from spiritual exhaustion. Constant explaining drains energy. Constant defending weakens confidence. When you know God is working, you don't need to convince anyone. Trust allows you to rest. Rest sharpens discernment. Even in faith, Jesus often told people not to announce miracles immediately. He understood timing. Truth released too early can create misunderstanding. Silence honors process. Process honors growth. In daily family life, arguments escalate because of words spoken too quickly. Silence de-escalates. In finances, impulsive purchases follow impulsive talk. Silence gives space for wisdom to speak. Silence also protects you from pride. Talking about blessings too early can shift focus from gratitude to performance. Quiet blessings keep the heart humble. Humility attracts more grace. People who share everything invite unnecessary opinions. Opinions confuse direction. Direction requires clarity. Silence maintains clarity. There are seasons where celebration is appropriate, but there are seasons where protection is necessary. Knowing the difference is wisdom. Silence is not fear, it is strategy. Even nature models this. Trees grow roots underground before branches appear. Strong roots come from hidden work. When storms come, shallow roots fall. Deep roots stand. Silence builds roots. In personal growth, breakthroughs often happen quietly. Internal shifts precede external change. Speaking too soon interrupts reflection. Reflection deepens understanding. Silence also protects relationships with God. Some encounters are sacred. Not every prayer answer needs a testimony immediately. Some testimonies need time to mature. People who move quietly often move faster. They avoid distraction. They avoid sabotage. They avoid unnecessary resistance. Silence becomes a shield. When blessings arrive quietly, they stay longer. Noise attracts attention, but attention attracts pressure. Pressure tests foundations. Strong foundations come from quiet seasons. Silence is not hiding, it is guarding. It is choosing depth over display, progress over applause, wisdom over validation. Those who learn to be quiet in the early stages enjoy peace in the later stages. Silence protects the blessing because not everything God places in your hands is meant for public display, and not every miracle is strong enough to survive early exposure. Some blessings are like newborn babies, beautiful, full of promise, but vulnerable. They need care, warmth, and protection, not flashing lights and loud announcements. Wisdom understands timing, and timing is often protected by silence. In daily life, think about how people handle sensitive information. A promotion discussed too early can create jealousy. A business idea shared too soon can be stolen. A dream spoken before it matures can be discouraged. NCE is not secrecy born from fear. It is discretion born from wisdom. People who speak less often move further because they protect what is still forming. Look at how nature works. Seeds grow underground in darkness before breaking the surface. If you dig up the seed every day to show someone what you planted, growth stops. Silence is the soil that keeps the seed alive. Talking too much is like exposing roots to the air. They dry out. Blessings need quiet seasons to develop strength. In everyday finances, people who suddenly receive money and announce it widely often experience rapid loss. Requests come, pressure increases, decisions become emotional. But those who stay quiet think clearly. Silence allows strategy. Strategy preserves increase. God does not give wisdom and wealth separately. Wisdom protects what wealth provides. Consider relationships. When something good begins, early disclosure invites opinions that can distort perception. People project their fears, past failures, and insecurities onto your joy. Silence keeps your heart free from unnecessary influence. What grows in peace lasts longer than what grows in noise. In the workplace, people who advertise their ambitions before results appear often face resistance. Colleagues may compete, supervisors may test motives, but the person who works quietly, improves skills silently, and delivers consistently is often promoted without conflict. Silence allows excellence to speak louder than words. Even spiritual growth requires quiet. Some of the deepest changes happen internally before any outward sign appears. When God is reshaping character, too much talking interrupts reflection. Silence gives room for conviction, clarity, and correction. Growth that happens quietly is usually more stable. Think about learning a new discipline. When people announce their plans loudly, they often seek validation instead of consistency. When progress slows, embarrassment follows. But when they move quietly, they are free to fail, learn, and adjust without pressure. Silence removes performance anxiety and encourages perseverance. Parents instinctively protect their children's vulnerabilities. They don't share every weakness, struggle, or plan publicly. Protection comes from love. God protects His blessings the same way. Silence becomes an act of stewardship, not denial. In daily conversations, oversharing can invite misunderstanding. Not everyone celebrates your progress. Some tolerate it, some envy it. Silence filters access. Not everyone deserves insight into what God is doing in your life. Boundaries preserve momentum. Silence also protects emotional energy. Explaining, defending, and justifying drains focus. Focus fuels progress. When you stop explaining yourself to everyone, you reclaim time and clarity. Blessings grow where focus remains uninterrupted. Even success stories often reveal this pattern. Many people say the biggest breakthroughs happened when no one was watching. The quiet years built the visible years. Noise would have distracted them. Silence sharpened them. In faith, Jesus often withdrew to pray quietly before major moments. He understood preparation happens in solitude. Public victory is born in private discipline. Silence strengthens roots so branches can hold fruit. In daily life, arguments escalate because words are released too quickly. Silence pauses reaction and allows wisdom to respond. In finances, impulsive spending often follows impulsive speech. Silence creates space for better decisions. Silence also protects humility. When blessings are kept quiet, gratitude stays central. Pride grows when applause becomes the goal. Humility attracts grace. Grace sustains blessing. Nature again teaches this. Rivers that flow quietly shape landscapes over time. Violent floods destroy. Quiet consistency builds strength. Silence allows steady progress. Some blessings are assignments. Assignments need strategy, not spectators. Silence helps you hear instructions clearly. Too many voices create confusion. Silence does not mean you are ashamed of what God is doing. It means you trust the process enough to let it mature. There is a time to testify and a time to incubate. Wisdom knows the difference. When you learn to be silent during growth, you gain confidence during harvest. The blessing stands firm because it was protected when it was weak. Silence becomes the guard that allowed the miracle to mature without interference. 2026 is an appointed year, not a coincidence, and this truth shifts how you look at time, waiting, and delay. Nothing significant in life happens randomly. Moments may surprise you, but they are never accidental. What feels sudden to you has often been scheduled long before you noticed. Time is not just passing, it is preparing. When a year is appointed, it means events are aligning whether you feel ready or not. In daily life, think about harvest seasons. Farmers do not wake up surprised when crops grow. They know there is a set time between planting and reaping. The field looks quiet for months, but underground, processes are active. 2026 is like that harvest season. What you planted in tears, discipline, obedience, and patience is not forgotten. Time has been working on your behalf even when nothing seemed to change. Look at how education works. A student studies for years before graduation day. The ceremony feels sudden, but it is the result of accumulated effort. Nobody hands out degrees randomly. There is a calendar, a curriculum, a progression. In the same way, God works with appointed times. Your preparation years were not wasted years. They were necessary stages leading toward a moment that could arrive early without harming you. In everyday careers, promotions often appear sudden to outsiders. One day someone is unnoticed, the next day they are elevated. People call it luck, but they did not see the quiet consistency, the late nights, the discipline, the patience. Appointment always looks like coincidence to those who did not walk the process. 2026 will feel sudden to others, but you will recognize it as the right time. Life itself teaches this principle. Children grow teeth at appointed times. They begin walking at appointed times. Forcing growth early causes damage. Delayed growth causes concern. Proper timing brings strength. God operates with the same wisdom. He does not rush seasons, and He does not miss them. If 2026 is appointed, it means previous years were necessary, not wasted. Even traffic lights reveal this truth. A red light feels like delay, but it is protecting timing. A green light released too early creates accidents. When the signal changes at the right moment, movement becomes safe. Many times you thought life was stopping you, but it was actually synchronizing you with a future intersection you could not yet see. In relationships, timing is everything. Right people met too early can become wrong people. Right opportunities entered too soon can become overwhelming. Appointment ensures readiness on both sides. When a year is appointed, it means people, opportunities, and resources are converging at the same time. That kind of alignment cannot be forced. Think about baking. Ingredients mixed too quickly or removed too early ruin the result. Heat applied at the wrong time destroys flavor. The timer matters. Life has a timer too. When the oven bell rings, the result is ready. 2026 represents that moment when what has been forming internally is ready for exposure. In finances, many people experience sudden breakthroughs after long periods of pressure. It looks like overnight success, but it is actually accumulated alignment. The mind matured, habits stabilized, wisdom formed, capacity increased. Appointment is when capacity finally matches blessing. Look at how doors work. A locked door is not rejection, it is timing. A key works only when the lock is ready. You may have had the key for years, but the door was not yet aligned. 2026 is about alignment, not effort. Effort prepares, alignment releases. Even nature confirms this. Rivers swell at appointed seasons. Fruit trees bear at appointed times. Forcing fruit early weakens the tree. Waiting strengthens it. Your life has seasons, and frustration often comes from trying to harvest in a planting season. Appointment removes frustration because it brings clarity. In daily habits, people often quit too soon because they mistake silence for stagnation. But silence is often evidence of unseen work. Foundations are built quietly. Structures rise visibly later. An appointed year is when foundations finally carry visible results. History is filled with stories of people whose defining moments came later than expected. Their delays were not denials, they were positioning. Experience, character, and discernment were being layered so that success would not destroy them. When a year is appointed, resistance weakens. What felt heavy becomes manageable. What felt confusing becomes clear. Timing creates momentum. Momentum accelerates progress. Appointment also brings peace. You stop forcing outcomes and start recognizing patterns. You notice connections forming naturally. You realize things are happening with less strain than before. That ease is a sign of alignment, not laziness. In daily decision-making, an appointed season feels different. You still work, but anxiety lessens. You still plan, but fear fades. Confidence replaces desperation because you sense readiness. Readiness is the language of appointed time. People often ask why things did not happen earlier. The answer is usually capacity. Earlier success would have overwhelmed earlier versions of you. Appointment ensures sustainability. What comes in season stays. 2026 being appointed means the past was preparation, not punishment. The waiting trained endurance. The delays sharpened wisdom. The closed doors redirected you away from paths that would have drained you. When time aligns, even small actions produce large outcomes. A single conversation opens multiple doors. One idea generates long-term results. That is not coincidence, that is convergence. Appointment does not remove effort, but it multiplies impact. Seeds planted years ago suddenly sprout together. Momentum builds quickly because groundwork is complete. Life moves differently in appointed seasons. You are no longer chasing, you are receiving. You are no longer proving, you are stewarding. You are no longer questioning, you are recognizing. An appointed year carries a sense of inevitability. What is meant to happen feels unavoidable, not because life becomes easy, but because resistance no longer has authority over timing. When a season is appointed, it cannot be cancelled by opinions, delays, or past mistakes. Time itself cooperates, events line up, help appears, strength renews. 2026 is not arriving randomly, it is arriving intentionally, carrying outcomes shaped by everything you survived, learned, and obeyed before it arrived. Now hear this with your spirit, not just your ears. What you have been listening to is not motivation for a moment, it is revelation for a season. This is not about hype, emotion, or excitement that fades tomorrow. This is about alignment. This is about timing. This is about stepping into what was already written before you were ready to read it. You were never late. You were never forgotten. You were never overlooked. You were being prepared. Life was not denying you, it was developing you. Every delay refined you. Every closed door redirected you. Every silent season strengthened you. What felt like nothing happening was actually everything happening beneath the surface. Remember this, when God is silent, He is not absent. He is strategic. Silence does not mean stagnation. Darkness does not mean defeat. Waiting does not mean weakness. Some of the strongest transformations happen quietly. Away from applause, away from validation, away from noise. You did not survive what you survived to remain the same. You did not endure pressure just to stay average. You did not learn discipline just to live small. There is a reason your resilience grew. There is a reason your vision matured. There is a reason your faith did not die even when logic failed you. Let this truth settle in you. Preparation always precedes promotion. Capacity always precedes increase. Character always precedes calling. What is coming requires the version of you that exists now, not the version you were years ago. Stop doubting your progress just because it has been quiet. Growth is not always loud. Strength is not always visible. Some battles you won internally before they ever showed externally. Some victories you secured in prayer before they ever appeared in reality. Say this within yourself: I am not behind. I am aligned. I am not confused. I am positioned. I am not lacking. I am becoming. Speak life over your journey, because words shape atmosphere, and atmosphere shapes outcomes. Understand this deeply. What is meant for you will not miss you. What is assigned to you cannot be stolen. What God has scheduled does not need your panic to arrive. Faith does not rush. Faith rests in confidence. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into fulfillment. You are not entering chaos. You are entering clarity. The pressure you felt was not to crush you. It was to compress you into readiness. People may not understand your timing. They may not see the preparation. They may call it luck, coincidence, or sudden success. But you will know the truth. You will remember the nights you stayed disciplined. You will remember the seasons you stayed silent. You will remember the moments you chose obedience over comfort. And when the doors open, walk through them with humility. When provision increases, steward it with wisdom. When favor surrounds you, stay grounded in gratitude. Let success make you quieter, not louder. Let progress make you wiser, not prouder. Never forget this powerful truth. Elevation does not change who you are. It reveals who you were becoming all along. Stay rooted, stay focused, stay faithful. The same discipline that got you here will keep you there. Your life is not an accident. Your journey is not random. Your future is not uncertain. Everything is aligning with purpose, precision, and divine timing. Hold your vision firmly. Guard your peace fiercely. Move forward confidently. The season ahead does not require fear. It requires faith. It does not require noise. It requires obedience. It does not require striving. It requires trust. And when you look back one day, you will realize that the waiting was not wasted, the silence was not empty, and the pressure was not pointless. It was all preparing you for this moment, this level, this assignment. Stand strong, stay ready, walk forward with expectation. What is ahead of you is not ordinary, not accidental, and not late. It is appointed.